Liam's world was built of soft whispers and the rustle of old pages. His bookstore, Second Chances, sat on a quiet corner of Silvergrove, where the city's chaos felt like a distant hum. The shop smelled of aged paper and vanilla candles, a sanctuary for those who needed to escape. Liam himself was a part of the scenery, gentle, unassuming, with a gaze that lingered on the edges of things. One rainy afternoon, the door chimed, dragging in a gust of cool air and a flurry of motion. Alex crashed through the threshold, his umbrella a useless tangle of fabric and wire. His laughter filled the room, bright and unapologetic, as he shook the rain from his hair. He was a burst of color against Liam's grayscale world, golden skin, a mischievous smirk, and eyes like twilight. When he spun around, his camera swung from his neck, knocking over a stack of vintage poetry books. The gentle thud of bound leather on wood was all it took to snap Liam out of his quiet. "Oh, damn, sorry." Alex bent down, quick hands gathering the fallen volumes. His movements were all energy and grace, a contradiction that made Liam's breath hitch. "It's fine." Liam knelt to help, his fingers brushing against Alex's. The touch was brief but electric. He pulled back, his expression a mask of calm, but his pulse stuttered in his veins. Alex handed him a worn copy of Walt Whitman. "Nice place. Didn't know bookshops like this still existed." "It's a bit of a relic." Liam's lips quirked into a shy smile. "Much like the books." Alex grinned, wide and genuine. "Relics are where all the stories hide." And so, their story began. Their worlds couldn't have been more different. Liam found solace in silence, in the steady rhythm of routine. His life was a series of carefully drawn lines, and stepping outside them filled him with quiet dread. Alex, on the other hand, lived life in broad strokes. He was a photographer by trade and an adventurer by spirit. He captured stories in moments, the laughter of strangers, the way light split through glass, the beauty in the broken. He lived for the next thrill, never still, never settled. But despite the differences, an invisible thread pulled them closer. Alex became a regular at Second Chances, his visits as unpredictable as he was. He'd show up with coffee and a new story, filling Liam's quiet shop with vibrant energy. Liam, in turn, began to crave those interruptions, his days brightened by the warmth Alex brought. They'd sit on the worn leather couch by the window, the world outside a watercolor blur. Alex would share tales of his travels, the way the world looked through his lens. Liam would listen, his silence speaking volumes, his eyes alight with a longing he couldn't voice. One evening, as the sun dipped below the skyline, Alex set his camera aside. "You ever think of seeing more? The world beyond these walls?" Liam's fingers tightened around his cup. "The world's never really been, for me. What if I showed you?" Alex's voice was soft, the question wrapped in promise. Liam hesitated, the air between them thick with possibility. "I'd like that." Summer melted into autumn, and with it came change. Alex began dragging Liam out into the city, art shows, hidden cafes, midnight walks through rain-slick streets. Under Alex's influence, Liam's world expanded, colors blooming where there had only been shades of gray. But change was never easy. Liam's fears lingered, shadows at the edge of every bright moment. And Alex, ever the wanderer, felt the call of the road, a restlessness that even love couldn't quiet. When the offer came, a photography assignment overseas, Alex's excitement was undeniable. His dreams had always been wide as the horizon, but this time, the distance felt like a blade. "What about us?" Liam's voice trembled, his composure cracking. "I want you with me." Alex's plea was raw, his hands reaching for Liam's. "But I can't stay." "You know I can't." Liam pulled away, his fear twisting into anger. "You're always running, Alex. I can't be just another stop on your journey." The silence that followed was a wound, deep and aching. When Alex left, the door closed with a finality that echoed through the empty shop. The days that followed were hollow. Liam moved through them like a ghost, his world reverting to shadows and silence. He found himself drawn to the places they had shared, every corner of the city haunted by what could have been. But slowly, grief made way for clarity. Liam realized that love wasn't a trap, it was a leap. Alex had offered him a chance to live, not just exist. And if Liam wanted a life with him, he'd have to fight for it. When Liam finally reached out, his message was simple: under the same sky. The response came quickly, a pin on a map and a single word: come. The reunion was nothing like the movies, no dramatic airport scene, no grand gestures. Instead, they met on a quiet street in a sun-soaked town, the air warm and the sea breeze soft. Alex stood beneath a tree, camera in hand, his expression a mix of hope and disbelief. Liam took a breath, stepping into the light. I'm here. And that was all it took. They built a life where the quiet and the chaos found harmony. They traveled, capturing the world through Alex's lens and discovering it through Liam's stories. They learned to bend without breaking, to love without holding back. Every night, they'd sit beneath the open sky, hands intertwined, knowing that no matter where they went, they were always home, in each other. Settling into their new life was a dance of mismatched steps. Liam, who had always craved stability, found himself adapting to a world where plans were made in pencil, not ink. Alex's life was spontaneous, each day a fresh canvas. He'd wake up at dawn, dragging Liam to bustling markets or quiet beaches, his camera a natural extension of himself. Liam discovered joy in the unexpected. He'd watch Alex work, the way his eyes lit up when he found the perfect shot. Through Alex's lens, Liam began to see the world with new wonder, the way light bent, how ordinary moments became extraordinary. And in return, Alex found solace in Liam's steadiness. On days when his restlessness turned to exhaustion, he'd curl up with Liam, the hum of an audiobook or the rustle of pages a balm to his spirit. Their life became a blend of motion and stillness, like the tide and the shore. The first real storm came in winter. Alex had an opportunity to exhibit his work in a major gallery back in Silvergrove. It was everything he'd dreamed of, but it meant returning to the city, where Liam's old fears lingered. Liam hesitated. The city had been his cage for so long, and going back felt like stepping into old shadows. Alex tried to be understanding, but the tension between them grew. I need this, Liam, Alex said one night, his voice a tight coil of hope and frustration. I've been here, with you, in this quiet. But I need more. Liam's heart clenched. And if I can't go back? Then I'll go alone. The words hung in the air, a cold truth neither wanted to face. They spent the next week in separate worlds, their shared space filled with unspoken words. It wasn't anger but fear, fear of losing each other, fear of becoming trapped in compromise. Finally, it was Liam who broke the silence. I'll go with you. His voice was soft but steady. I can't promise I won't be afraid, but I want to try. For us. Alex's relief was a flood. He pulled Liam close, his lips brushing against his temple. We'll go together. And if it's too much, we'll find our way back. Always. Back in Silvergrove, Liam confronted his past. The city felt different with Alex by his side, the old fears dulled by the warmth of his presence. They moved into a small apartment above an art gallery, its windows wide and welcoming. Alex threw himself into preparing for the exhibit, his passion a force of nature. Liam found work at a local library, his quiet strength a comfort to those who needed it. They built a rhythm, their days filled with work and their nights with whispered dreams. The exhibit opened on a chilly Friday evening. The gallery buzzed with voices and light, Alex's photographs lining the walls like windows into other worlds. Liam wandered through the crowd, pride and love filling every step. He paused in front of a photograph, soft focus, golden light, a familiar figure framed by a window, lost in a book. Liam. His breath caught. Beneath the image, the title read, Home. He felt a hand slip into his, warm and sure. Alex stood beside him, his expression vulnerable. "You've always been my anchor, Liam. My constant." Tears blurred Liam's vision. "And you've been my wings." They kissed, unbothered by the eyes around them. In that moment, surrounded by art and strangers, they were entirely alone, two souls, perfectly in sync. As time passed, life settled into a tapestry of ordinary moments. They learned each other's rhythms, the way Liam brewed tea when he needed comfort, how Alex played soft jazz while editing his photos. But love was not without its weight. There were arguments over small things, whose turn it was to do the dishes, whether to spend a lazy Sunday in or out. Sometimes, Alex's wanderlust clashed with Liam's need for calm. Yet, beneath every clash was love. They argued, they apologized, they grew. They built a home where their differences didn't divide them but enriched them. They started traditions, a monthly date day, where they'd explore a new part of the city, Sunday mornings spent in bed with coffee and novels, quiet walks under the city's neon glow. One spring, they adopted a stray cat, a scruffy little thing with mismatched eyes. They named him Oliver, and he quickly became a part of their story, curling up on their laps as they read or edited photos. On their second anniversary, Alex suggested a trip. "Let's take a train, no plans. Just you, me, and the open road." Liam hesitated, but the spark in Alex's eyes made the decision easy. They packed light, boarding a train with no clear destination. They wandered through small towns, taking photos, collecting stories. Each stop became a chapter, their love story written in moments only they shared. One evening, as the train cut through a golden landscape, Alex turned to Liam. "Marry me." Liam's heart skipped, his world narrowing to the man before him. "You sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything." "You're my always, Liam." Liam's smile was the sunrise. "Yes." Their wedding was small, surrounded by friends, art, and books. They exchanged vows under an open sky, the stars bearing witness to their promise. Years passed, and their love only deepened. They traveled and returned, always finding their way back to each other. Liam published a book of short stories, each tale inspired by a photograph of Alex's. Together, they created art that spoke of love and life, of quiet moments and grand adventures. And every night, no matter where they were, they sat beneath the same sky. Hands intertwined, hearts steady, knowing that their story was still being written, one beautiful chapter at a time. The year after their wedding felt like a dream. Their art exhibit, Stories in Light, toured the country, blending Liam's words with Alex's photographs. They spent days traveling, sharing their story, and inspiring others. But with every high, a shadow loomed. Alex became busier, his work drawing more attention. Magazine features, invitations to speak at conferences, collaborations with renowned artists, it was everything he had ever wanted. But as his career soared, the gap between them widened. Liam, ever the anchor, found himself standing still while Alex drifted further away. Late nights turned into early mornings. Missed calls. Conversations cut short. Liam's messages went unanswered for hours, sometimes days. He told himself it was just the pressure, the whirlwind of success. But the ache in his chest became a constant. One evening, Liam sat alone at their apartment, dinner gone cold on the table. He stared at his phone, its screen dark. When the door finally opened, Alex looked worn, shadows beneath his eyes. "Sorry, the shoot ran late," he mumbled, dropping his bag. "Every night, Alex." Liam's voice was soft but edged with hurt. "You said we'd have dinner together." Alex sighed, rubbing his temples. "I'm trying, Liam. But this is important. More important than us." Silence. And in that silence, a truth lingered, one neither wanted to face. The cracks widened. Liam withdrew into his writing, pouring his pain into stories filled with longing and loss. Alex buried himself in work, his photos taking on a darker tone, the joy that once filled his lens now shrouded in gray. The breaking point came on a rainy Tuesday. Liam was on his way to surprise Alex at his studio, a rare free afternoon. He carried a bag of their favorite pastries, his heart clinging to hope. But when he arrived, he saw Alex through the glass, a moment frozen in betrayal. A colleague, a young artist with vibrant red hair, stood close to Alex. Their laughter rang out, too intimate. And then, the touch, a brush of fingers, a lingering gaze. It wasn't an affair, not yet. But it was the beginning of something that broke Liam's heart. He turned away, the rain masking his tears. For weeks, they lived as ghosts. Liam didn't confront Alex. Instead, he drifted through their days, his heart wrapped in ice. Alex sensed it, the shift, the growing chasm, but didn't know how to bridge it. One night, as the city slept, Liam whispered, "Do you still love me?" Alex stirred, his back to Liam. "What kind of question is that?" "The kind you ask when you feel like you're losing someone." Alex sat up, shadows pooling in the hollows of his face. "I'm here, aren't I?" "But not really." Silence. And in that silence, they both realized how far they had fallen. For weeks, they lived as ghosts. Liam didn't confront Alex. Instead, he drifted through their days, his heart wrapped in ice. Alex sensed it, the shift, the growing chasm, but didn't know how to bridge it. One night, as the city slept, Liam whispered, "Do you still love me?" Alex stirred, his back to Liam. "What kind of question is that?" "The kind you ask when you feel like you're losing someone." Alex sat up, shadows pooling in the hollows of his face. "I'm here, aren't I?" "But not really." Silence. And in that silence, they both realized how far they had fallen. In the end, it wasn't a fight but a quiet unraveling. Liam packed a bag, leaving behind a letter, ink smeared by tears. "I love you, but love shouldn't hurt like this. I need to find myself again. I hope you find what you're looking for, too." He left Silvergrove, retreating to a small coastal town. There, he found solace in solitude. He spent his days writing and walking along the cliffs, the sea air a balm to his wounds. He published a collection of stories, each tale a shard of his broken heart. Letters to the Sea became a quiet success, his pain finding a voice in the world. Alex read the book, each page a knife. He saw himself in the lines, the distant lover, the one who lost sight of what mattered. The young artist at the studio had been nothing more than a friend, but perception became reality. His success turned to ash, every achievement hollow without Liam. He tried to reach out, calls, letters, messages left unanswered. He visited the places they had loved, stood in the corners where their laughter had once lived. His camera grew dusty, his art stagnant. The world moved on, but he remained, trapped in the echo of his own mistakes. Years passed. Liam built a quiet life by the sea, his stories now woven with healing as much as hurt. He found friends who became family, a routine that felt safe. But beneath it all, the ache for Alex remained, a scar that never fully faded. One autumn, as the leaves burned amber, Liam received a package. Inside was a photo, soft, golden, the sea crashing against the cliffs. And a note, "I finally see what you meant. I'm sorry. I never stopped loving you. Alex." The weight of those words drew him back to Silvergrove. He found the city changed, but the old bookstore, Second Chances, remained. And inside, standing by a display of letters to the sea, was Alex. He looked older, the light in his eyes tempered by sorrow. When he saw Liam, the world around them dimmed. "I thought you'd never come back." Alex's voice cracked, his hands trembling. "I didn't think I would." Liam stepped closer, every step a heartbeat. "But maybe we deserve a second chance." It wasn't easy. Healing rarely was. They spoke of the past, of the wounds and the why. They rebuilt, not as they had been but as who they had become. Stronger. Wiser. They moved back to the sea, where the horizon stretched out like a promise. Alex took up his camera again, his photos filled with light. Liam wrote stories of redemption, of love lost and found. And every night, they sat beneath the same sky. Two souls, bound not by perfection but by the beauty of beginning again.